Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. Joining me, as always, to help break down some draft prospects, the very talented writer over at FirstRoundMock.com, Mr. William Yanish III. How you doing this afternoon, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, man.
Good. Glad to hear. Glad to hear. And guys, before we get into our analysis, our breakdown of Drake Maye, quarterback out of North Carolina, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on Facebook and also on YouTube, main two platforms there. But you can also check out our podcast as well. They're on all streaming platforms each and every single week. Well, William, I'll let you come out the gates hot with this one, man. Drake Maye, what's your thoughts on this young man who a lot of people are saying is going to be one of the first quarterbacks selected? A lot of talent out of this young arm in North Carolina. Give us your analysis.
All right, man. I've been seeing a lot of things on social media, and it's like Ohio State quarterbacks and such. They run it down the line. Oh, no one's ever been good. No one's ever been good. Well, now I've seen people on there talking about Drake Maye here and saying, "Oh, he's just another Trubisky. He's just another Sam Howell," and it's like, no, he's not. I mean, that can't be farther from. I mean, anything. I mean, that is true. I mean, I'll say it right now. He is the most talented and best quarterback in the 2024 NFL draft. It's simple as that with Drake Maye. I mean, he has probably, well, outside of, a quarterback like Joe Milton, he has about the most arm talent of anybody in, the draft. It's not even fair. I mean, I, have my opinions on the other quarterbacks in this draft. I'm not going to go down too many rabbit holes on this. You know, my first assessment of Drake Maye last summer, you know, I aptly named it "Prove It," and it was a point. I saw him as a junior. I saw him come in, and you know, he had Josh Downs, which I had watched for 2 years. He was actually my wide receiver one last year. I mean, dude is amazing. As soon as the ball snapped, I mean, he had to step on everyone, and all of the good, I mean, even elite quarterbacks, I mean, have some talented superstar wide receivers around him. And this last year, I went back in watching the tape, and North Carolina didn't have that, and I mean, so his numbers suffered kind of. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot of talent around him. I mean, the offensive line was bad. I mean, he was running for his life, even though, I mean, running between 2022 and 2023 for Drake Maye, I mean, I saw a drastic difference in his, ability. I don't know if he just, started pumping more iron and got more physically in shape. But I mean, his running and scrambling ability was night and day, between the last 2 years. And the thing with these quarterbacks, this whole class has ball placement issues. I mean, deep anyway, and I mean, it's been kind of the whole thing. But if May would, kind of calm him down, and take some of the rough edges off and get him with a good quarterback coach, you could really get him to get his footwork, a lot more or less, less hurried. And I mean, this is a quarterback, like I said, and my second and final evaluation just came out, Walking Tall, and that was it after doing 30 some quarterbacks this year in evaluations, and I finally named the best quarterback in the draft class, and it's obviously Drake Maye. I mean, this kid, his whole family, I mean, has gone to North Carolina. I mean, that's kind of one of those things. If you put him at one of those other colleges, that has all the money, has all the, 4 or 5 star recruits and stuff from high school. I mean, what would happen then, if you put May on one of those teams, and I mean, put him out there with a superstar wide receiver, and just stars around him and see exactly what, I mean, he can do. And the arm strength, like I said, that's off the chart. I mean, his football IQ, he understands it, but he just gets rushed, and that's the only knock that I can really have on the guy. I mean, he's done his things, and his it's like going to work and having a good day to compare the 2022 and 2023 seasons. You know, when you had big numbers, you know, in 2022 with Josh Downs and stuff like that, you know, I mean, then people expect it. It's like at work, you know, you have a good day at work, then your boss expects it every day. And that doesn't always happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, just put him around some players, and this guy will be. And I already stated that he will be the offensive rookie of the year next year. You know, I mean, I don't know where he's going to end up. If it's going to be, you know, Washington, they're talking about that high, but you know, McCarthy is a backup. They're trying to put him over Maye right now, and that's laughable at best. You know, they've already put Jaden Daniels above Maye, and so much to the point, you know. And it's like you guys got to really start, you know, go into the film, you know, break it down. You know, that's why I write my evaluations, and I write them on the film I'm seeing, is so, you know, whoever is watching can, you know, watch and see what I'm seeing. You know, I'm just translating. You know, that's that's all I do
Right.
when it comes to these players. And to go into the film and just, it doesn't lie. You know, I mean, everything you can see there from, you know, that they talk about the eye test and stuff like that. Well, he obviously passed that. You know, he's 6'4", you know, 230 some pounds, and I mean, he just passes everything. I mean, dude is smart. I mean, you can see it, you know, going through progressions, and I mean, he does the job, and he is good at it. Somebody, you know, I don't know. I mean, if somebody's thinking about taking, you know, Caleb Williams, or, you know, I mean, even Jaden Daniels at that high in the draft, I mean, that just seems like ludicrous to me. I've studied so much. I've watched so many games of all of these players, and I don't ever, you know, send my work to my publisher without being confident in my assessments. I mean, I'll sit there and watch games until I am happy with, you know, I'm comfortable with who I think the player is. And, you know, this was a pretty obvious choice, especially, you know, because he's still really only he's a redshirt sophomore, his third year, you know, junior. This is a young kid, you know, and I mean, he's got everything that it takes. The equation is simple when it adds up, you know, and no matter which order, I mean, you put the traits in line, everything else, it comes out the same. I mean, I don't know how people can, you know, value a quarterback like Williams or Daniels or McCarthy over someone like Maye. I mean, I don't know, man. I figured this would be a pretty simple one, you know. It took me all year to finally name, you know, QB1, and this is him, and I think that's about what I have to
Yeah,
say.
and great job, William. My quick thoughts on Drake Maye is, like you mentioned, 2022 was a breakout year. Obviously, everyone really learned the name and what he was doing out there at North Carolina. You mentioned the talented receiving core around him. 2023 still had really good years. If it wasn't for that 2022 outstanding campaign, 2023 would still be a really good year in the eyes of a lot of people. But like you said, it was a minor regression in terms of his completion percentage by a couple percentages. Passing yards down by a little bit less than 1,000. Touchdowns went down, interceptions went up a little bit. But like you mentioned, guy was running for his life really the last 2 years. He's never really had a quality O line throughout his tenure. He was sacked 40 times in 2022, but like you said, he improved. He was able to be more agile and mobile and start scrambling a little bit better in 23. Took his sack total down to still 29, still very high, but still that you got to look at the O line when you look at quarterback sacks too, in that stat also. We know he's a great passer. We know he's got the arm strength. We know he can get it done with the best of them. That's why he's projected as a top pick. And like you said, he's just a guy who he's just going to chuck the ball high and far and see where it goes. And whoever grabs it, man, they're in for a treat. Whoever gets this kid, I think they're going to be getting a really good player. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes, though, with all the moves that have been made in free agency in the NFL, and now with teams. Are they going to trade their quarterback? Do they need a quarterback? It's going to be interesting to see where these guys land. But Drake May, definitely a guy who is obviously worthy of that first round grade that everyone's giving him. And like I said, he's done tremendous. He's got the pedigree, like you mentioned. His parents played at North Carolina. If you just give this guy an O line, I think he could really just pick apart defenses. That's the one thing that he's been missing at North Carolina, and that's a good O line. If you give him some good highlight players on the outside, give him a good running game to maybe take a little bit of that weight off his shoulders slightly, I think that Drake May could slide into a multitude of different just schemes on offense and really just go to town early on. I mean, William, would it be as crazy to say as he could have do you think he could have a CJ Stroud type of year one, and just kind of light the league on fire?
Well, I said this last year about CJ Stroud. He was my QB1, and I
Yeah.
said that he was going to win offensive rookie of the year. So I can say, yeah.
All right. We will see, man. We will see. But William, appreciate you, man, coming on here talking Drake May. I know you got a lot of high praise for him. A lot of people do in the draft community. Like I said, we're just here to break this guy down, our thoughts and opinions. But we want to hear from you, our fans, our listeners. Once again, we appreciate you chiming in and always checking us out. We go live every single week, Facebook and on YouTube. And also go check out our podcast for audio versions of all of our shows. For the talented writer and now on-air talent, Mr. William Yanish III, thank you very much, sir. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Guys, enjoy your weekend and watch some college basketball. March Madness around the corner. And also go and do your draft film because the draft is approaching. We'll talk to you guys